Hey guys, breaking news, Concord shut down. I know, right? And we just recently talked about how the CEO, at least at the time over there at Sony, ended up getting demoted in some small part thanks to this multi-$100 million flop. But this, alongside like Dragon Age the Veilguard, anybody who worked on crap like this, okay? Any of these catastrophic flops, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Dustborn, Unknown 9 Awakening, the list goes on of just simple flops in 2024. Anybody who is responsible for something this catastrophic of a failure should never have a job in the industry ever again moving forward. Nope, none whatsoever. That at least should be the modus operandi. And if it was a healthy, thriving industry, that would definitely be the case. But no. Even with Sony closing Concord, the 2-week wonder that was Concord. Remember, from the game's full launch, even though there were, was a closed beta, an open beta that ended up seeing the highest player counts, and then for it to arrive to anemic player counts on Steam and apparently even worse player counts on PlayStation, even though we never got those official numbers. But Sony knows, so yeah, that ended up leading to not just shutting down Concord, but turning off the servers, refunding the game, and then, of course, shutting the studio, Firewalk Studio, that they ended up purchasing for hundreds of millions of dollars beforehand because it had ex-Bungie people on this, which is also very important to note because all of this stuff eventually ties together because, like I said at the beginning, if this was a healthy, thriving industry, all of these failures would eventually wash out, but because it is so incestuous, because there is such a high degree of nepotism involved, these people never eventually disappear. Like you got Corinne Bush, the director for the Veilguard, ending up getting hired by Wizards of the Coast for a similar job. Like, what are we doing out here, bro? And why do we have former Concord director of marketing, the director of marketing for Concord, one of the biggest commercial flops potentially of all time? Like, what else is close? Okay, like in 2024, it clearly takes the cake. Like, you had a game that was in development for the better part of a decade, close after 2 weeks, all purchases refunded, selling less than 50,000 copies. You're the director of marketing. You had a direct hand in the success of that project. There was no way that you could spin that abysmal failure. Like, even if there was, like, a first week high, okay, this is a brand new IP from Sony. We have a big faith in this. Like, you couldn't even polish that turd a little bit. So you are a catastrophic failure of a bigger catastrophic failure, which, yeah, just going back to how big of a failure Concord was, like, honestly, the only other thing that I can think of that comes close historically is, do you guys remember Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning? Or Awakening. Kingdoms of Amalur Awakening. It was Curt Schilling's 38 Studios. And, well, the game, and it's even different than Concord, okay? Because at least that was a competent offline WoW clone that when people played it, I think I've even got like a PS3 copy kicking around here somewhere, but at least people, when they played that game, liked the game, and it sold relatively well. I think it moved a few million copies, but it ended up getting hamstrung by the Rhode Island government and a couple of other predatory investors, and, well, that's an entire story for another time, and revisiting that at a certain point, I would find to be very interesting. But that was another catastrophic failure and big black eye on the industry. But Concord, I mean, that's going to go down as the worst failure of all time. I don't think anything else could potentially come close. Except for the degradation of the Halo franchise. At one point in time, competing with Super Mario as the face of gaming to become what? It's so sad. It's so sad to see what Master Chief has become, to see what Halo has become, to see what has happened to the IP under the stewardship of 343 Studios, the now rebranded Halo Studios, that thinks that, yeah, we can go ahead and get Halo back on track if we go back to the roots and we just focus on what made Halo successful to begin with. The cutting edge visuals, I want to die when I heard that. But then they hire the former Concord director of marketing and operations at Halo Studios as senior project marketing manager. Holy shit, Halo is so screwed. Why would you do... Why would you... Oh, right, because the Western gaming industry is just... It's just a big old orgy of nepotism, man. Okay. Pamela Piscitello, the director of marketing and operations for Firewalk Studios and its Concord game, has officially joined Halo Studios as senior project marketing manager. Piscitello posted on LinkedIn last month, "I'm happy to share that I'm starting a new position as senior project marketing manager working on Halo at Xbox. First order of business, more cat helmets." Oh my god, bro. Like what? Savvy did a little bit of a deep dive on this idiot, but I've not checked in on the Halo Studios in a little bit. I wonder who they hired recently. Turns out the marketing director for Firewalk Studios joined their team. And Firewalk Studios, yes, recently shut down the studio that produced the 1 Week Wonder. Oh, it's 2 weeks, Savvy. Come on, do your research, at least on Concord. Naturally, she will be willing to recommend all her friends for future positions if any of her recruiter friends need to fill a role. I don't know if there's if there's really an award-winning recommendation, but failing upwards is part of the journey sometimes. Yeah, exactly, because you take a look at everything that she's done before. 4 years, 9 months at Firewalk Studio, director of marketing and operations lead, dating back years. Like what? Oh my god, bro, what are we doing here? And yeah, you make this big old post. Okay, what are we going to be doing over here? Well, Firewalk Studios closed. It's big sad, my entire Firewalk Studios team. It was an adventure of a lifetime, but now I can just, cross the line and hop on over to Sony and, well, hey man, first order of business, more cat helmets, because that's what's going to save Halo. Fuck man, I'm tight about this because I've talked about this before. Maybe outside of Final Fantasy, the Rock Band and Guitar Hero notwithstanding, like I've dumped thousands of hours into that stuff. But when it comes to proper gaming franchises, I don't want to discredit that. But you get what I mean. Okay, Final Fantasy and Halo, those are integral gaming franchises to me. And to see where both of them are, Final Fantasy's in a little bit of a better state, but that is still, walking a tightrope at this point in time. Finally, for the first time in a very long time, there seems to be a clear path forward. Will they follow it? I don't know, but I look over at Halo and it's like, holy shit, bro. What happened? It's just, I would cry, but you're not even worth my tears. It's just, it's pathetic. As somebody who has spent thousands of hours in Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 2, I can't even tell you how many times dragging a TV and consoles to my friend's place, doing LAN parties, spending weekends going to different cities, okay, different towns, running Ethernet cables from room to room to just sit down and play Halo with a dozen people in a house, yelling and screaming at each other, getting pizzas. It's like, it was so great back in the cut, making a bunch of different themed teams when you could have little individual offline profiles. Like we would have an entire team of 80s action stars, 80s 90s action stars, right? Like we'd have the John McClane, John Rambo, the Terminator against like Attitude Era wrestlers. Like it was so great. And you'd have your individual character models, and then when character emblems on Halo 2, and then when Halo 3 came out, hours and hours, even if it was just during the week after school, you'd hop on, and my friends were, in different towns, and we would play for hours. And then especially on the weekend, if I wasn't out there or they weren't in town, playing to the wee hours of the morning. And then when Reach came around, I mean, man, and then 4 came out, and then I only got a couple of levels into 5, and I didn't even bother with Infinite. And you're doing cat helmets. When I was farming achievements to get the samurai armor in Halo 3, you were thinking, we need cat ears for Master Chief. I can't properly say what I'm thinking right now because of YouTube's terms of service. Just know that I'm outrageously pissed. Yeah, this announcement was has obviously raised significant concerns from gamers. After former World of Warcraft, Grums, posted the news to X. Many predicted this would be the end of Halo. Well, I mean, it's been the end of Halo for a long time, right? Guardians was a joke, okay? The rug pull by just, oh, cool, you can continue the story of Master Chief against the Forerunners. No, just kidding, you're going to play as boring, not Master Chief. Okay, cool. And then it's like, okay, cool, you're rebranding to Halo Studios. What exactly are you going to do? All right, kick everything off by celebrating Black History Month, this Black History Month, We're celebrating the contributions and cultures of the black community within Halo Studios and beyond. I mean, you should have just went and posted a picture of, you know, Sergeant Johnson and Keith David for voicing the Arbiter. Like, just cut to the point, bro. Like, what are we doing? We're committed to fostering an environment where everyone feels valued and supported, except for actual Halo fans that haven't been valued or supported in over a decade. Like, what the fuck? Let's build a future where opportunity thrives for all. But if that's what you're focused on, celebrating Pride Month, celebrating Black History Month, hiring diversity idiots like Melissa Boone, who I went to a historically black college. I got a BA in psychology, so that means I'm a big fan of Halo. Man, it's cooked. It is so cooked. And when you're not too busy posting pictures and tweets about how, you know, Happy Pride Month with Master Chief holding a Progress Pride flag, I want to die. When you're not doing all of this virtue signaling shit, you think about making a competent game. But no, of course not. I cannot think of a franchise that has fallen off and has been in this much of a doldrum in all of gaming. Like, Sonic had this fall off for a second, but at least he's recovered. But when it comes to Halo, I do not see the light of day. And it's so easy. But then again, you take a look at Disney and they couldn't figure out how to crack the formula, how to make a fucking Blade movie. So yeah, Master Chief really should have just stayed in that stasis pod at the end of Halo 3. And it's funny how you hire, you know, the likes of Pamela Piscitello, who used to work at Firewalk Studios. That was founded by a bunch of people that used to work for Bungie. Funny how all of this stuff comes full circle, and it's not satisfying at all, really. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.